Yes, I'm in and out. I don't know what's wrong. But all my apps is closed. All my apps is closed. I'm back in now.
My mom
Can you
taught me
hear
to sell
me?
at a spaza shop. She ran a hair salon. I pretty much learned entrepreneurship from my mom's.
Ngumtu ngabantu. That on your
Can you
own,
hear
you
me?
can't really do it. You need the support of those around you.
You will have a network of people, a network of communities, and a society that will make sure that you count.
Hello and welcome to another edition or episode of Saita Straight Talk. And that's exactly what we do here on Saita Straight Talk. We represent the South African Informal Traders Alliance with this series of discussions where we invite panelists to talk about issues that are pertinent to the informal trading sector. Tonight, I wish to welcome onto our panel Shamila Edwards, who is an informal trader. Shamila, good evening.
Good evening. I'm Shakwood from Menenberg background, and I'm an informal trader and community worker. Menenberg Business Forum chairperson, also the economical head of Menenberg Steel Committee.
Thank you, Shamila. We also have with us Wilhelmina van Dijk. Good evening, Wilhelmina.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. My name is Wilhelmina van Dijk. I live in the city of Cape Town. I am a community activist. I've been doing community work for all my life nearly. And my focus has mainly been on social justice issues, of which gender-based violence was one aspect.
Thank you, Wilhelmina. Thanks again for joining us. Simone Carallison, good evening and welcome.
Hi, Louise, and hi to everyone. My name is Simone Carallison. I'm an attorney, and I am the director of my own law firm in Bellville, Carallison Attorneys, women-only law firm.
Thank you, Simone. Well done on that. And then we've got our thorn amongst all the roses this evening, but we love him so much, Mr. Paul Bester, our National Director of Saita Membership. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening, Louise. Thank you for the invite. I'm very excited to be here tonight amongst the bevy of beauties and also the power heads in the business that they are. So I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul. Now, gender-based violence, or GBV, is a profound, widespread problem in South Africa. And you know what? It impacts on almost every aspect of life. However, there is a disproportionate skew that affects mostly women and girls. We know it's systemic, it's deeply entrenched, and it's almost become an institution and a culture and a tradition, one could almost say, here in South Africa. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to explore what GBV is, some of the forms that it takes, and particularly how it affects our informal traders and women in general. So Shamila, if you can hear me, please won't you tell us from the point of an informal trader in an area where you know women, what is the effect of gender-based violence?
Can you just repeat yourself, please? Because I was again out now.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm asking, as an informal trader, can you tell us what the effect of gender-based violence is on the informal trading economy and women on a marketplace as a whole?
For the woman on the free market, it's very down with the lockdown. And so everybody is now trying to do something for a living, especially in Menenberg. especially in men and work. The gender-based violence is a lot of going on here by us because of the merchants that is smuggling drugs on the free market, and it's like you can't say anything. And we had a fighter just passed on now, and she was gay. I don't know if you know it. He was Leslie van Rooyen. And he was also a fighter for HIV. He was on the flea markets and got sick. He started a soup kitchen at home. So that was only one of the traders that we lost because of this gender-based violence. You was a fighter for that. And every time something happened, then you will always stand out and reach out to the person or persons whose rights is being violated. So, yeah.
Thank you, Shamila. Wilhelmina, I'm going to direct it to you because as a community worker and with particular emphasis on social justice, give us a broad strokes. I mean, I almost feel like this is something that we belabor so often, but we actually don't realize how close to home it actually is. Give us an idea of what gender-based violence really, really means to us as a broader South African community. Wilhelmina, you can carry on.
Yes. Well, I can only speak from what I've encountered and in my work, formal, informal, and also what I've observed in my community, you know. And as you've said, we keep on talking about gender-based violence on various platforms. And I think that might be one of the problems that we're facing, in that we're constantly talking about gender-based violence. But there are no real relevant solutions. And when I say relevant, I mean the solutions that's out there. Either they're very academic, or they only focus on particular areas and particular groups that are being violated.
Sorry, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Shamila. We can.
I don't know when every time they just speak of the meeting.
Shamila, I think when you can pop in, then do. And we'll just hope that it will continue to be okay from now. And as I was saying, I often notice in Bellville when they are busy packing up these people's stalls because they're not registered. There are so many informal traders in the many spots in the city of Cape Town alone. Yeah. And they are often being chased away because they're not registering, they're not registered, or for whichever reasons that whoever is in authority can find. And when you look at these sites, you will see so many women. And that tells you that these are people, because mostly women who do informal trading, my experience of it is that it's normally for the house. Or as we would say in our areas, it's for the pot. So the whole family and maybe extended families also need to participate in that earning, you know, or benefit from it. However, people are being shoved away. People are being packed up as they are trading for no other reason other than they don't have a license. And to me, that is violence. And it is because there are so many women there, you can call it gender-based, because the focus, if you look at these times, and I'm now focusing specifically on when authority comes to say, no, you cannot do that. The focus are mainly on the women. And I'm not discounting the fact that men are also being violated. There are many violences perpetrated against male. But when we speak of gender-based violence, generally it is women who suffer. in my community, when I speak of gender-based violence, it is mostly women. Those who come for help is mostly women. And maybe it is because of the stigmas that's attached to, when men come to complain, you're this, you're that, you're not a real man, all these silly stigmas that's attached to that. So for now, we need to look at what's relevant, because I think the most important thing is the fact that a lot is being done, but it is not being done for the people that is suffering. It is being done to, my view of it is that it's being done to be able to say, we're looking at it, we're talking about it. I worked in council 10 years ago, and I'm seeing programs that was spoken of 10 years ago when I worked in council being spoken of still. And then I asked myself, why are we still speaking of it? Why are we not working? And that it somehow seems as if people cannot come up with proper solutions to gender-based violence. And the one thing that I keep on hampering on, and I know a lot of other people are also doing the same, is the fact that when marches are organized, when protest actions are organized, you see a lot of women doing it. And the focus is being placed on women to sort out gender-based violence. The focus is being placed on women to actually come up with solutions. My question to that is, where are the men in this? And thank you for Paul for coming onto this platform to speak. However, Paul cannot represent the whole of the male population. Where are the men when these marches are happening, when these protest actions are taking place, when it pertains particularly to gender-based violence? Why is the onus being put on women to sort this issue out? When we are the victims of it as well, more than males are. And I think anyone can see that as a fact or know that as a fact. So why are we being asked to sort out our victimhood when the perpetrators are being allowed to roam free? The sentencing that happens for gender-based violence it's beyond pathetic, where people get raped. And if you look at rape in our communities, it's become a norm. People, from an activist perspective, it is so debilitating at times, because
I'm going to stop you right there, Wilhelmina, because you're touching on something that I want to take in stages, because I want to go back to what you've said, and I'm also glancing at the comments that are coming through. And you spoke earlier, you spoke about the confiscation of goods and the violence that goes with it. That means it's become institutionalized. It is almost a law because there's that kind of power to it. Then you spoke about the fact that men also can be victims of gender-based violence. And I particularly want to go to Lani Gumere. He's posted on Facebook saying, women are also abusive and they are killing men and no one says anything about it. And Tulani, I want to thank you for making that statement, because we need more men to become part of this conversation. And then lower on, Mandla. Where's Mandla's... let me just say, Mandla Nkabinde, he said, I'm totally against the abuse of women, comrades, but you also have to cater for us as men. I think a platform like this is okay, but men are also vulnerable and we don't know who to tell our frustrations to. And those are facts, because, I'm not even going to become part of the not all men are bad scenario, because I think it's the responsibility of all men to stand up and say, we don't tolerate this kind of thing. So we're not looking for somebody to say, I'm not responsible for it, because we want to be in this boat with all men. But then you also spoke about, Wilhelmina, about sentencing and that kind of justice. And yeah, I want our lawyer to step into the conversation. Simone, really, is there recourse for me as a woman in a situation that's going to work for me? Does the system really cater for all of us, or does the system only cater for somebody that can afford a private lawyer?
You know, Louise, there are various options, but people just don't know about it. I just also, before I tell you about the options that are available, what Wilhelmina says, I feel so strongly about this because I had this conversation with my staff last week and this week, is that there's so much talk being done about, raising awareness against GBV and all this, but no action is being taken. And that is not just a problem for society at large, but it's a problem for us as attorneys as well, you know? And men, I've got men clients who are victims of gender-based violence, but they don't want to come out and speak about it because it's like, it's embarrassing. I'm not a man. No one is going to believe me because the movement against gender-based violence is focused on women only. And that's something that we all need to change. But back to the recourses available. There are so many options available. It's just people don't know about it. And the problem is that we need to educate our people all around South Africa. For instance, if you are a victim of gender-based violence, and I'm talking about physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, verbal abuse, economic intimidation, harassment, sexual abuse, stalking, women need to have the freedom to go to the police firstly and say to the police, listen, this is what's happening to me right now. Can you help me? The police have a section called FCS. They are trained officers who deal with instances where women or men are abused, where they are victims of gender-based violence. And they take the person and they put them in a room. There are counselors available for them and they can assist them. Women or anybody that is subjected to any form of gender-based violence can go to any social worker at any Badisa office, for instance, in your area. Go and tell the social worker, this is what's happening to me, or this is what happened to me. I need to do something about it. I can't go back home. There are safe houses that are available everywhere. Many safe houses, Louise, in so many areas, in all of the areas, that cater for women who have no place to go to because they can't go back home, because now they've gone and they've complained about, listen, this man has now beaten me, this man has abused me, I can't go back home, I've complained about it, if I go back home now, I'm going to be dead. So there are safe houses that are open and available to take these women in and to help them to get through the process firstly and to reintegrate them into society. We also have the court system. And I know this is probably one of the most daunting processes for people because they don't understand the court process. When people see court papers, it's like they go into panic mode instantly. But you know what? The Department of Justice has developed these processes to make it easier for laypersons to go to court without an attorney and to go to the clerks. You go to the court in your area, you say to the security, listen, I need help, I'm abused, I'm a victim of gender-based violence, this is what happened to me, please tell me where to go. They'll show you. You go to the clerks of the domestic violence court. When you get to the clerks of the court, Louise, the clerks will sit down with you. They'll go through the processes with you. They'll tell you this is the form to fill in. And that's where the process starts. You don't need a lawyer for that. And if you're afraid, women need to learn how to speak up and not be afraid to tell the people. But I think the trust is the issue that they have. They're scared to speak out. But this is why we need to educate our females, our males. We need to educate the people to say it's okay to go to these places and tell them, this is my story. Because the social workers at the Badisa offices, the clerks at the courts, the police officers, they are there and they can tell you, okay, you've started this process now. We're going to help you see it through. So Go to the safe house. Go and stay there. The people at the safe houses are always volunteers. They have these MPOs or NPOs, and they are trained to assist these people, to assist these women or victims of GBV, to get them through the process, to get justice and to get accountability for them, to see them through and to reintegrate them into society. It's a long process, and it's a difficult process, and it's an emotional process, but it's available. And also, just also to add on to that, like I said, you don't need a lawyer for that. But if you get to a point in your matter, for instance, where you need a lawyer, you can go to legal aid. If you don't qualify for legal aid, you can tell them, listen, I don't earn enough money. For instance, I think it's 5,500 that you need to earn to qualify to get a free lawyer, a state lawyer. That's legal aid. If you earn above that, but you don't earn enough to afford a private attorney, you tell them, listen, I need a judicare attorney. So these are all terms that I'm using that I know a lot of people, informal traders, women out there, they don't know this, and we need to get this out there. It's so important for people to realize that there are options for them, that they don't need to go through this by themselves.
Simone, I want to ask you before I give Paul a chance. A lot of the scenarios that you've sketched now talks about the recourses within domestic violence. But what happens if I'm a trader? This is my business. Majority of us are women, but there are a few men. What happens when I suffer gender-based violence at my workplace? Do I follow those same steps, or does it become slightly different?
No. Remember, violence, when you look in the Domestic Violence Act, or you look in the Harassment Act even, it's not just domestic violence that applies here. You can look at harassment. Remember, domestic violence applies to people who are in a relationship with, who have some sort of familial affiliation with, or you are married or whatever. But if it's someone that you have no relation with, you can go and get an harassment interdict, because then the Harassment Act applies. I know people, and I've seen it also, a lot of informal traders, even at court, women, they run the show there. They are the breadwinners there. I've seen it. I know one, very close to one of them, for instance. And I know what Wilhelmina was talking about them struggling. You need a permit. If you don't get this, you must go. But if that happens, if you get attacked like that, you go to court. You tell them, I want an harassment interdict. Here's my papers. Here's what I'm doing. Here's the processes that I'm following. I need to be protected because this is my job. Because if I lose it, that's economical abuse. I can't work. I can't earn a living. You are infringing on my rights. So those processes are there. Domestic violence, harassment. You go to the police. If they are harassing you, go to the cops and tell them, this is what's happening. And if all else fails, give them my number.
Oh, love a powerful woman. Paul, I wanna direct my next question to you, because Saita is the mouthpiece with representation in every province in South Africa. We are the alliance for all other smaller trader organizations to be affiliated to, and we will speak on their behalf. How does gender-based violence fit into the Saita narrative?
Louise, thank you so much. You know, when you had this subject for tonight, gender-based violence, I was so excited and wanted to be part of this, because where I'm from, prior to coming to Saita, this is some of the things that I did for many years. You know, taking women issues and gender-based violence and just gender issues to the fore in the union space that I was in. And then I didn't know how to approach you guys tonight, because there were so many things that I wanted to say, and I'll get to the Saita part. But allow me to say one or two things before I start with it. And I think it's very important that we start with it. One of the most powerful ladies in the world was Dr. Maya Angelou. And she said something that about herself and being a woman. She said, I say, it's in the arch of my back. It's the sun of my smile. It's the ride of my breast, the grace of my style. I am a woman phenomenal woman. That is me. And if you look at a woman, 90% of women are in the informal trader space. They do so because they are single parents, or it's believed that they should keep the pot, as was said by Comrade Shamilat, and it says from a very, very, very young age, boys and girls are encouraged to take on different roles. Society perceives us like that. Girls are taught to do housework while boys are expected to be active outside. When we grow up, what we learn when we are still young shapes us as adults. Women normally become responsible for looking after the home, while men are seen as the breadwinners. This is what we call the so-called sexual division of labor. But unfortunately, life is not the way that it seems to be. It happens that you are a single parent, your husband passes away, divorce, life happens. And then you need to jump out. And this is where you talked about it, is gender-based violence become institutionalized. And it's easy for two metro policemen having a pie in the one hand and a Coke in the other, jumping out and just telling a small young female, a small old tanny, to move off and just get your stuff and take your stuff. What resistance will she do? What she does not have that resistance. She does not. And I think this is part of what we as Saita want to take forward, is to say Saita is against gender-based violence per se. It doesn't matter where it happens. If it happens in the house, if it happens in street, if it happens the way that you talk to a female, the way that you address yourself, the way that you conduct yourself in a public space. When you're not happy with at the bank teller, or if you're not happy the way the lady swipes your Coke in the shop, the way that you address her and talk to her is very big on how you are brought up. And we don't tolerate this. Women are not born by God to be abused. You're not made for that. God did not make you to be abused. That's why there's a difference between us two. And there's also something that I wanted to say to you. I know sometimes people know me and they say, you've got no filter, Paul. You must say, but I'm going to say this. When men are strong, or try to be strong, they say to you, grow a pair of balls, man. Just grow up. Women already wears theirs on their chest. You are born big, you are born strong. And so that's why I'm saying, that's why women are seem to be phenomenally women. But let's get back to the Saita part. And this is what you asked me. Saita is the association and the affiliation for all traders across South Africa. These are the kind of things that we need to take up. And you have the membership email and number on the screen on the bottom scrolling past. Send us an email, send us a WhatsApp, join Saita. These are the issues that we would like to take up. We have got a national footprint across South Africa. And we take up, if you've got a complaint, join Saita. If you're not yet a member of Saita, join us by sending us the email. And we'll send you, or send me a WhatsApp and I'll send you the application, join us. And we can take up issues because divided, we fall, united we stand. And we're strong together, we can take these issues of the city and the institutionalized gender-based violence. We can take this on and fight the municipalities. Having an issue with the system. And just this morning, because of our strength, the provincial secretary of Northern Cape, the Northern Cape structure, could approach immediately the Department of Business at the Deputy General's office and the DG's office, and they are going to assist in the province of Northern Cape for the institutionals that don't honor this permit system that says you don't have to pay permit for until the end of the president has signed into law. So this is the we have. You become, the stronger we can come. So I just wanted to end off my session for now, Louise, if you allow me just 2 minutes more. I have a poem that I sort of wrote whilst I was at Kusatu with some other people. I wrote a poem about women, and I want to just read this to you if you don't mind. And it says, for every woman that is tired of acting weak when she knows she's strong, there is a man who is tired of being strong and he is vulnerable. For every woman who is tired of acting dumb, there is a man who is burdened with the responsibility of knowing everything. For every woman who is tired of being called the emotional female, there is a man who is denied the right to weep and be gentle. For every woman who is called unfeminine when she competes, there is a man of whom competition is the only way to prove his masculinity. For every woman who is tired of being a sex object, there is a man who must worry about his potency. Every woman who feels tied down by children, there is a man who feels of parenthood. For every woman who is denied meaningful employment and equal pay, there is a man who must bear the financial responsibility of another human being. For every woman who is not taught the intricacies of an automobile, there is a man who is not taught the satisfaction of cooking. And for every woman who takes a step forward towards her own liberation, there is a man who finds that the way to freedom has been made a little easier. And I say this towards women across South Africa. We are strong. Gender-based violence is something that is entrenched in our society. We need to eradicate it by any means possible. And when Comrade Wilhelmina says men are not part of marches, see me, March Comrade Wilhelmina, I'll take the front lead and we'll take men and we'll lead this march so that we will stop this evil of the society. Thanks for now, Louise.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Paul. Wilhelmina, so you see Paul's number floating on the screen here. Please invite him to every march. You've now heard a public announcement that the Saita men will become part of the change in our communities. And that's what we need. We need men to stand with us and to talk the same language as we are. And the fact that we are 3 women on this panel this evening, we were 4 women before Shamila's signal didn't work with us tonight, says exactly what you said earlier, Wilhelmina. Why is it that we are the victims, or the majority of the time we are the victims, and yet we are also left to have to fix it? And we need men to be standing up and saying, guys, this is not on. And not for people to say, but it's not me. But let's take a stand, all of us. Wilhelmina, I see you burning to say something.
Yeah. I firstly, thank you, Paul. I will take you up on that offer. I've noted your number. What I want to say is, one of the burning things about gender-based violence is the fact that often, and as had happened on the chat, the text that came through from the people who are watching this interview, we will always hear about men that are also being abused, and that it's not being taken as serious as women who are abused. And that is a fact. It is a fact. However, that to me is because of the people who are helping on the topic of abuse. When we look at our organizations that help, either it is your small-scale community organizations that's trying their utmost to just be there for women, and they lack most of the resources needed to do that. When you look at your safe spaces and all of that, resource lack is the biggest hamper there. When you look at your institutions, though, your government institutions, your government departments, your courts, your police, it's problematic, because when I speak of the issue of men that are also abused, the problem enters at the attitude that is being shown towards abuse in general.
Yes.
Women are being abused when they go and lay charges. Men are being laughed at when they go and do that. So I think a large part of the problem of gender-based violence, apart from men leaving it to women to sort their victimhood out, is how the organizations and the departments that needs to work on these issues addresses these issues. Because as Simone has said, there are so many options available for people to go to who are abused. However, when you do make access of use of those accesses, then it puts you off. I mean, I've gone with people to the police station to go and lay charges, and I literally had to teach police people how to fill out those forms, while they're having to do the work. You go to the courts with people who are being abused, and they are being disregarded at the courts. And oftentimes, many of the people working at these organizations and not the organizations per se, but especially your governmental departments, they do not know the routes to take. They do not know the steps to take to address the issue of gender-based violence. They actually do. I've heard that. I've seen it. It always shocks me when I do encounter it, though, but I see it so often that they need to go and find out, what do I do now? I hear people ask, when you go to hospitals and women speak on it, you need to go, the nurses needs to go and find somebody that can attend to it because they don't know what to do. And they speak to you as somebody, I don't know what to do, I'll go find somebody. The offhandedness of the departmental people when they need to address this, when people come to them, that in itself makes you not want to go and report, because men are stigmatized as you are being a woman because women are weak. Women are stigmatized as you are complaining, you are constantly complaining. That is just how society sees us. So all these stigmas keeps us from going to organizations, and all these lacks that exist in organizations keeps us from going there because we're often aware of they can't really help me, So why do I go then? Or I'm not going to be helped, or I'm not going to be respected, so let me not put myself through that trauma. And that is a huge problem. And I noted it, but I do not know which one, who said it, about women speaking up. I think it was you, Simone. Yes, women must speak up, and we must spread that message. However, that in itself is asking a lot. Because to be able to speak up against somebody who is my breadwinner, what do I do after that? After I've spoken up, where do I go to? Who's going to see to it that my children have food? So these are the things that is encountered by everybody who, or most of the people who go and report gender-based. So our stats do not really accurately reflect what is happening in our societies. Because once again, it's more talk shop than it is anything else. And if you're only having talk shops to fill in reports, you can have hour-long talk shops. In fact, days long. I've been on workshops for weeks, or a week-long workshop, and I knew that nothing would come of it because it's once again just, we've done the workshop, we have the report, now we will submit. And we'll do this next year again, and the year after, and the year after that. When are we going to start working on solutions that will actually address the problems? And when are we going to go and look at the perpetrators instead of the victim to address these issues?
You want to respond?
I agree with you. And I know, as an attorney, I know stats are the most important for the government departments. That's all that they focus on. With all due respect to my colleagues in the government departments, I know that. When I say that we need to speak up, I know it's so easy for me to say that, and I say that to my clients as well, but I know it's difficult to do. But somebody somewhere needs to start taking a stand. If it starts with us, let us do that. If we support the men and the women, if we start doing something, but something needs to be done. It's fine for us, like I said, to go and attend workshops and to go and toy and raise awareness with marches and stuff, but we need to start doing something so that the people feel that it's okay for me to go and complain because I'm going to be safe. Yeah.
I was reading something here that Comrade Paul, I think you would find this very, very, very heartwarming. Suraya from the Eastern Cape has written, "Way to go, Comrade Paul. Just this weekend, we as Saita, in collaboration with our taxi drivers, went and saved one of our traders who was being abused at home." And that's what happens. And what you've just said, Simone and Wilhelmina, you've also alluded to it earlier, and that is that for so many years, people are still speaking about the same thing. And last week, in one of the other Straight Talk sessions that we had, one of our informal traders actually hit the nail on the head in terms of why this happens. Not specific to gender-based violence, but to the issue that we had been discussing last week. And he said, every time we start the conversation because you're getting to know somebody, and then it comes closer to where we all need to go and vote, and then we get to a point where something is going to happen. Then we vote, and then the landscape changes. So now new people are being brought in, and then suddenly we have to start that conversation all over again. And that's the benefit of joining an alliance like Saita that is not affiliated to any political party, which means we can keep government, municipalities, the police, we can keep them responsible because our story will stay the same. We're not interested in who is sitting in the seat right now. We are talking because we need to be looking after our members, and we say one sector, one voice. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being part of the first of a number of discussions that we're going to be having about gender-based violence. I think as a start, we've done well in setting the platform. Simone, I'm actually going to put you on the spot and ask you whether a lot of the tips that you gave earlier is something that we can put on a little Saita banner that we can put on the Facebook page so that we start educating ourselves, men and women, as to the correct jargon to use when we are in predicaments, because a lot of the time we are so shocked and ashamed at what is going on that we use the wrong words and the message doesn't come across. But if we have a little notebook with the right wording and we put it down on here, then it's a place of reference for everybody that is on the Saita media page. So thanks for that in advance, Simone, and thank you for your time this evening. Wilhelmina, your passion, thank you ever so much for making yourself available this evening. And Paul, your hand is up.
Okay, thank you, Comrade Ruiz. I just wanted to end off my side and speak to Comrade Wilhelmina. She will remember in 2018 when Jesse Hess was killed, there was this big march in town. I think about 50 or 60,000 women all dressed in black. And President at that time, Ramaphosa, said, don't worry, there's going to be laws signed that's going to assist gender-based violence. Again, last night or Sunday night, when he spoke about COVID, he said these laws are going to be signed. That's 3 years down the line. So all I'm saying is when we vote right, make sure that you vote for the right people so that political will returns to the leadership of our country so that people can be serviced. It's now become a divide between who sits in the chairs and eats our money. And I'm straight when I say that they eat our money, because I've never heard of any politician that went on short time or got COVID money. They've got their money. It's our money that they got. But it's the people that's on the floor that had to go and stand in queues for COVID money. So make sure you vote right, that political will returns, that laws and acts can be signed into place to protect women from gender-based violence. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. What an amazing starting point for a series of discussions that will be following this first session on gender-based violence. Thank you, Simone. Thank you, Wilhelmina. Thank you, Paul, for your contributions this evening. I want to invite you, if you haven't liked the Saita media page yet, please like it. Please share it with your network. About 5 minutes after this broadcast ends, the video will be available on the Facebook page. Please share it far and wide. There are so many people who need to hear this message. So do yourself a favor, do your community a favor, and share this video so that people can follow us on the series as we start making sure that we all know our rights. My name is Louise for Saita Straight Talk. Thank you and good night.
Good night.
Night.